President Jimmy Carter, President George Bush, Reverend Billy Graham, and Hugh Hefner. What do these four people all have in common? Simply the fact that they are well into their 80s, yet still their names are instantly recognizable to all of us. It got me to wondering who all else might I be able to add to this list. Longtime TV game show host Bob Barker is now 84, as is radio commentator Paul Harvey. Hollywood actor turned producer-director Clint Eastwood is now 83. Dick Clark is 82, as is Pope Benedict. Same age as longtime television star Betty White. Jack LaLanne, fitness guru whose heyday was in the late 1950s, is now himself 91. And by the way, still in great shape if you need him. As different as all these people are from one to another, one common thread that runs through all of them is that they have all remained true to the people that they already are. And I suspect that this leads them all to a mutual respect for one another that would trump any personal differences that might be between them. For example, how about the pairing of Presidents Bush and Carter? Political opposites, yet I'm sure, I guarantee you that by now there's a very deep and abiding personal rapport between them that would trump any differences that might have been there. How about the pairing of Hugh Hefner to Reverend Billy Graham? Isn't that an interesting one? I suspect if you asked Mr. Graham about his thoughts about Mr. Hefner, he would probably be very complimentary. Sort of. He'd say something like, well, Hugh's worked very hard all his life, and that's what's allowed him to have a lasting impact on American pop culture, even as he's lived it. I think that would be a very Graham-esque thing to say. And I'm sure Mr. Hefner would raise a glass to Billy Graham and throw wide open the front doors of the mansion should he ever happen to stop by. Wouldn't it be interesting if he ever did, by the way? Something else that strikes me about all these people is how vibrant they really are. For example, Bob Barker is still in great shape at 84, as is Jack LaLanne. At 82, Betty White hosted Saturday Night Live just a couple of months ago, and do you know what? She was hilarious. She was cracking me up. And at 83, Clint Eastwood, that crusty old man will still kick your can all the way around the block if you cross him. And how about George Bush, still jumping out of planes at 85? And Jimmy Carter, still taking his message all the way around the world to anybody who will listen. And you may not agree with his message, but you can't fault his inactivity. Finally, there's one last person I'd like to add to this list, and that is myself. Oh, sure, I may never become President of the United States, and I'll definitely never make Pope. But I could one day have a shot at making this list. And how do I propose to do this? The same way all these people did, by continuing to be true to the person that I already am, even as I evolve to match changing times. A seeming contradiction, and there's the irony. These people did it. And that makes me think I can do it too. A tall order? Yes, it is. But you know what? I can almost feel Reverend Billy Graham nodding in full support of me even now. Right along with Hugh Hefner. Steve out.